Hey guys, welcome back to Keeping Up with the Nerds minicast issue number 8. My name is Bryan.
I'm Adam.
Rene.
And Miguel.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit delayed because we're doing this minicast live on Discord, everyone. This is the first one, just because we really wanted to shoot something. We wanted to make this happen because Jackass came out this last week. And all of us, including Nick, who couldn't make it today, went to go see it. So we were very excited to talk about it. We're going to be giving more of our thoughts rather than a review because reviews are pretty much really, it's doing well out there. It's very highly reviewed. So I'm going to be asking you guys a couple questions just to kind of keep this organized. I'm going to pretty much moderate this conversation. And I'm going to start off by saying this. So out of the reviews, it's very highly considered to be a great movie. Probably one of the best of the last 3 Jackass movies that have been released. And some of the reviews, which is kind of funny because I mean, it's Jackass, so of course they're going to, grab a hold of these like comments and stuff. But some reviews are claiming it to be one of the best cinematic masterpieces to be released within the last couple of months. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because I've got a couple pieces on that.
Oh man.
Who's going first?
Adam, go for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Already off a good start, guys.
Yeah. In terms of masterpiece, I wouldn't say that. I will admit it was nice to not have to follow a script throughout the movie. Like if I wanted to go to the restroom, like I could during like this film. Obviously you wouldn't want to miss anything, but it was nice not to have to like be like super invested into a film, without missing, without having to worry about missing any key details, because there's no real formula to a film like this in the way Jackass films its films. So it was nice to just be able to sit down and just know you're gonna have a good time no matter how raunchy and crazy as it is.
So that's pretty much why you consider it to be a cinematic masterpiece? Or do you agree with
it? No, because I feel like it's the weakest of all 4 films.
Okay. We're going to go back to that point because that's a ball drop right there. Rene, is it a cinematic masterpiece according to some of the reviews?
I definitely think it's a very fun film because I think we talked about it after we saw it, where it was nice where we can just tune into a movie without full focus, especially recently, where it's not it's not like how a Marvel movie where, you have to look at everything, pick up everything that's happening, or like a DC movie where it's like, you're like, it's just, I don't know, it was fun to kind of just turn your brain off and just focus on what's happening on the screen.
Okay. So do you agree
I definitely think it's one of the, I'm going the opposite with Adam. I think it's one of the stronger Jackass movies, I definitely like this one more because you could tell everyone was having a good time. And it was basically like, this is our final movie, that everyone's coming back and we're just going to have fun. That's what I took.
Cool. Miguel,
from it.
Is it a cinematic masterpiece? Yes or no?
I wouldn't exactly call it a cinematic masterpiece. I want to know who asked that question or who posted that statement, but I think it's I think I want them to understand what cinematic means, but not that it wasn't a bad movie. I think I'm with Rene. I think it's one of the stronger Jackasses that's out there. I think there's a lot of nostalgia following this movie, especially after several years of not seeing the original cast and everything that's going on. So the fact that it was received well may be due to that, but overall it was a really, really fun time. And kind of piggybacking on Adam saying that there's no formula to them, there kind of is a little bit, especially with that intro scene and then everything that goes on to follow after that. Because as Rene said, you don't have a Jackass movie without SHIT and vomit. So it's like,
thanks for censoring.
And there was plenty of that, but
yeah.
At the same time, I'm gonna have to disagree, but not to be like for my own sake, just it's just for me. Not everyone is entitled to their opinion.
No, that 100% makes sense. For me personally, I'm on that boat where it's look, you asked the question, like, who is saying that it is a cinematic masterpiece? It's them. I think that they're pulling those words out of certain reviews and they're claiming it to be like, oh, this is a masterpiece of a film kind of thing. In its own way, it kind of is though, because consider it this way. It's a movie that has little to no structure by having some sort of structure through the mind of Johnny Knoxville and the production team. And it's also one of those movies where they're doing a bunch of crap to each other. At the end of the day, they're all friends. And I think that's kind of like the beauty of it, right? Because how often do you see other films or movies or TV shows where they get to prank each other like this? Like hardcore pranks where they're actually hurting themselves, right? And at the end of the day, they're laughing, taking it serious, but 20 years later, they're all still friends. Like, those kind of things don't exist. So in a way, yeah, but it's not like a cinematic masterpiece by the normal definition. Does that make sense?
Great.
100%.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird that it's advertising itself that way. With that said, it's kind of funny that amongst the four of us, three of us actually say that it's the strongest one, because I agree with you, Miguel and Rene. It is the stronger of the four films so far. Adam, being the dark horse over here, saying it's the weakest. Why is that? And why is it the weakest one? And what about it didn't you like?
I think the fact, my biggest thing is that the four people that got in, they were cool, but the four new people that they brought in, I should say, that was weird, very weirdly, but I just felt like there wasn't any chemistry really between them, and they're only, and of course, not all of them are going to shine, but only really, in my opinion, Poopy shined out. Zach had his moments, Jasper seemed a little, just there to be there. Same thing with I forgot
Jackass. Oh, Rachel.
That was
Rachel.
Rachel.
Uh-huh.
It's like I feel like there were three like very, just we just kind of got invited to be in it, so we're gonna. Whereas when the first Jackass came out, it was a mixture of, two groups, Bam's group and Knoxville's group. And it flowed together. So like Bam's group already had that chemistry, and Knoxville's group already had that chemistry, and when they mixed together, it flowed really well. I felt like there were just dry moments between the cast where it didn't really flow well. Now, don't get me wrong, they're younger, they kind of there's already an expectation that they have to live up to. And I think going in, you can't really expect much from, new names, I guess you can say. You can't expect a lot, really big things.
Okay.
And I feel like even the small expectations I had for them, there wasn't much, from them.
So pretty much it was like you're building a set, essentially. Like, we're already familiar with this, and they're using different pieces that could possibly work in their eyes, and it didn't really work for you. Okay, that's understandable.
I think between the cast, there was just kind of like, there's no chemistry between the new people, and then even when like the originals, watching, I was just like, it's nice to see them, but they're too old for this.
Gotcha. Rene, you said it's the strongest out of the four. Why? Did we lose Rene? I think we might have lost Rene. No! Rene, why was it the strongest out of the four films for you? And what did you like about this movie?
Thank you for asking me for the first time. That I liked it because it was pretty interesting. It was fun seeing everyone come back together and stuff, and it was cool to see the newer cast taking on certain stunts that you can tell that certain casts, the originals, didn't want to do it, and it was really interesting because you could see the classic Knoxville stunts. He would take on the bull, and then you know, Steve-O would do like the more crazier stuff as well. But it was also interesting to see Danger Aaron take on a lot of the stunts a little bit more in this movie. That's what I kind of liked a little bit.
Yeah, he was the one that was like, because you said it yourself, like you felt like they picked on him more. Even that the cup test stunt, I was like, dude, how is that guy like? How can you endure so much, man? Yeah. Especially the pogo stick one. I was like, dude, that's where I draw the line.
The ringer.
Don't even.
Oh,
started.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
No, if anything, the bear one had to be the worst for him.
The bear one was my favorite though, just
it was good. It was. I was so scared for him watching it. So scared.
I think Rene heard me when I gasped a little bit when the bear's mouth opened right at the wrist. I legit thought that he was gonna bite down and be like, "What the hell, dude? We're not gonna see this like happen, are we?"
It's just gonna cut to credits after
that. Any last points, Rene, or want to add on that?
No, just the whole that bear thing was just so. Oh man, I was on my edge, and then it's emotional damage. You know? That.
No damage.
Steve-O couldn't even approach him without him like flinching. I felt bad, but it was great.
Oh.
Miguel, why is it the best out of the 4 films for you, and what did you like about it?
So for me, when I first saw Jackass, I saw Jackass 2 first. And that one to me was the craziest one, and I think the level of crazy to that one is on par to this one, and just the nostalgia of what Forever has versus 2. Number 1, I remember just seeing it a couple of weeks back, and everything was just like, you know, it looked like it was on found footage camera, like it was like Blair Witch Project without the horror. It was just pure comedy. And then you get to 3D, and then that one's a little bit more formulaic, and it's nice because it's in 3D. The stunts are even crazier, but for me, I think it just holds a better spot for 2 and Forever together, because I think those were the most memorable ones. And I think the first one just kind of kickstarted it. Second one pushed the limits. Third one was like plateauing, and then Forever came in and was like, no, we can get back to our roots while still bringing in a new cast, while still also getting as crazy and as insane as possible, but also we're just a bunch of geriatrics on the verge. So it's like, I really enjoyed that one. I think that's, to me, is why it's the strongest. It's one of the strongest ones. And then I forgot the second part of the question.
What were your favorite parts of the movie?
Oh, dude, definitely that pogo stick. That that was insane. I think the one where they have the spider and they have those tubes connected, that was bonkers. The fact where they have another one where they're strapped down and it's spinning while they're also getting literally annihilated by paintballs. Oh man, I remember I had talked to Adam about it, and he was like, it's great, but I'm like forgettable. And then right after the movie, gone out, got a couple drinks, and I was sitting at the bar, and I was just like, wait, what was my favorite part? And I only had 3 of the stunts, which, well, 4 kind of. The intro scene, the pogo stick one, the one the very close to the end where they're all spinning and getting attacked by the
army.
By the army. And then I think there was one more. Oh, Knoxville just getting rammed again by the bull.
Oh my
god!
God,
if he didn't know the way when they slowed it down and you just see exactly when he just goes waste. Like, it was just like, oh man. But still pretty funny. I like this little cameos that they had when they had that one guy MGK. But it was still pretty good, man. The whole theater was laughing for me. I was actually gonna wonder, like, how was your theaters, because the entire theater was rolling.
I told Rene that I have never been at a movie, or I've never been to a movie where my throat and chest were hurting so much from laughing. Because for me, it was nonstop laughter. I think every part of that movie either had me cringing, grossed out, like I had to turn away, or like laughing, but like audible laugh that you usually hear me, like, you know, you usually hear me laugh that way outside, not in the theater. Our experience was okay. I mean, you have your typical jackass crowd, right, Rene? It was like, you know, the people that are like loud
Yeah,
now.
we had some like loud people behind us.
Yeah, the obnoxious kind of like kind of people that are just kind of like assholes about everything and just like, dude, shut up. No one, like, I get it. This is like high school tier kind of stuff, but like, relax. You know.
The one where you turn around and you're like, wait, is that really your laugh?
Oh my god.
That to me a couple times I was being like, there's a couple people to my left and I was like, I don't want to look because I don't want to know.
No, I completely get you. So you know, on my part, I'll keep it short. Shoot, what was the question I asked you guys?
Why was it the strongest?
Oh, why was it?
Yeah.
Why was it the
My
strongest?
favorite
And what were your
moments.
favorite parts? Yeah.
Good job, moderator. I'm doing such a great job here doing all this, you know, forgetting the question that I asked you guys. For me, it was the strongest film, mainly because it rode on so much nostalgia, but it didn't disrespect it. Like, I'm going to go at a different point because, Miguel, I 100% agree with you. Rene, I 100% agree with you, but I'm going to say a different point, and it's going to be that nostalgia factor. Like, when the movie came out, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was super excited to get back in that theater and watch these guys do the stupid things that they've done for years. Like, that is what I wanted to see, you know? I grew up on Jackass. Technically, I shouldn't have been watching the show at the age that I was, but I did. And for me, it was just kind of like seeing these friends get back together and do the stupid stuff that they've been doing for so long. Johnny Knoxville taking on the bull. You know, Steve-O doing the stupid things like putting bees in his dick and stuff like that. Freaking,
God.
yeah. Wee Man getting launched into the air. Just dumb things like that, right? Like, that's the kind of stuff that makes Jackass Jackass. And what made this great was it didn't overdo itself. Like, it understood. Like, they understood their limits. These guys are mid 40s, I want to say, maybe a little bit older than that, like 50s, right? And that's the thing, is that they didn't really push that limit where you're kind of like, oh snap, like these guys are gonna die. Like, there were certain moments, but like it didn't teeter over that Jackass bar. Does that make sense at all, or am I kind of like explaining it weirdly?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Disagree though. They had a freaking bear in the film.
But they didn't die. Did they die?
No. The bear seemed so trained though.
Yeah, he was. That
Like, it
they
was
had
so
trainers.
calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were like, okay, like for instance, the only sequence of events where I legitimately thought, you know, death could have happened was the Knoxville Bull incident.
That's exactly what I was gonna mention. I was like, when they played the playback and you saw him just in slow motion, how his body hit the ground, he just didn't move after that. I was like, yeah, this guy's done.
Knocked him out.
And knocked,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you can hear him snoring
Oh yeah,
after he got, and it was like, all right.
Yeah.
he has
This
permanent
is-
brain damage because of
you
that.
know.
But that's the thing.
Really?
Yeah, he does. I'll send you guys the links afterwards on here. But yeah, he's got
Oh,
permanent
God.
brain damage because of it. But that's the thing, is that it didn't overboard itself. A lot of the stunts were kind of teen for what they were. Because I was telling Rene, one of my favorite stunts that they did was in Jackass 2, when they did the teeter-totter bull ring. When it was, I forget who it was. It was Knoxville,
Yeah.
Steve-O, I think. Oh shoot, I forget the other two that are on there.
And
Bam, and I forget who else.
and done.
And Dunn. Oh, Ryan Dunn, that's right. So they were like just
Oh,
doing
man,
teeter
rest in
totters,
peace.
and then the bull was going around them. Like, that was funny. Like, that's kind of like my favorite stunt. They could have died, but they didn't. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like there's a limit, you know? You have expectations of what Jackass is, and they rode that line well, but it didn't overboard itself. For me, my favorite stunt was the bear and the Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs
I was waiting for somebody to bring that up.
great. That one was great.
Fantastic.
When Aaron was just
Fantastic.
like, "You're on your own," then turns around, puts his head on the pan.
No, when he's calling him out, he's like, Aaron, he's like, where are you? And he's not answering. He's under the table. Oh my god. I think it was also Aaron when
I
he
like.
walked in. Go ahead, Rene.
I liked when Chris was in the background and he's just doing a Buffalo Bill, and just kind of like, you know, standing and dancing in the back.
Dancing around.
We do have to wrap up this mini cast because we're about to reach that 20-minute mark, or if not, we probably already did. But the last question I want to ask you guys, it kind of makes it seem like this is the last Jackass movie. Like I said, these guys are old. These guys, it doesn't seem like they can handle much more. They've kind of reached the limit. You have Knoxville, who has suffered a lot of damage out of everything that he's done. Everyone just kind of seems like they're on that last edge. One wrong move and they die, right? But there have been certain interviews, specifically one that I recently saw with Knoxville on Esquire, where he's kind of said, is it going to be the last one? Technically, we don't know. There could be a 5, there could be a 6, there could be a 7, but he wants to work more behind the camera with Jeff. What do you guys think about a Jackass 5? Do you feel like there's a potential for it? Adam, you want to start?
Wrap it up.
It's
because again, they're gonna have to. The only way I can think of it is like, all right, them continuing, because I don't think majority of them can do the stunts anymore. We saw that, I know Rene pointed out that they had Aaron doing stunts and like the younger people doing stunts that they didn't want to do. I don't think that was the case for all of them. There were stunts they couldn't do because some of them were injured. Knoxville obviously came out the hospital. Steve-O was wearing a sling in some sleeves, so it's just like, I feel like they're at the point where it's just like, all right, we can't do it. Physically, we can't do it anymore. Obviously mentally they can do it as long as they want, but, so the only way I can see it is like, let's say like, I don't know, Knoxville and Steve-O. It was like Knoxville versus Steve-O, and they had 2 teams of like 4, seeing who can, outdo each other in stunts.
Or the next Jackass reality TV show where like each person has like a team of future jackasses.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
In terms of that, I just kind of hope it's not, because again, like I feel like them doing the stunts is what makes Jackass.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if they're not in it, it's not going to be successful.
Makes sense. Rene, is this the last Jackass movie?
I think if anything, it probably is, but I can also see them doing another one, but with none of the original cast. I think it's going to be an all new cast, if any. Of all the people we saw in this last movie, along with maybe like people they've worked with in the past, because we saw Tyler was produced by them as well too, from the people from Jackass as well. So I think they could do one more, but it won't be with the original cast at all.
Gotcha. Miguel, last Jackass movie, or do you want another one?
Possibly not. I would definitely see another one if there was a case, but I agree with what Rene said, that they won't be, the original cast won't be there. They'll probably have a whole different cast. But then, to have a sequel greenlit, it just poses the question, is it the original cast that we're attached to, or is it the stunts? Like, what exactly does Jackass? Why does it make all of us go back and see those movies? Is it because we like the cast personally, or is it because of the stunts that they all get into? And I think the stunts would only get crazier if they bring in a new cast and then kind of establish a new cast with obviously the original cast still like involved in everything like that, because that's their baby. But would it have the same success? Probably not. Would there be another one? Probably yes. And it's up to them at this point to see whether they want to continue that or not. But I didn't know they were gonna ever make another Jackass, and here we are. So it's all up on time.
I'm gonna say this because I 100% agree with how you explained it, Miguel. Where it's like, I'm gonna take this point from you, where you said, are we watching these movies because of the people, or are we watching these movies because of the stunts? Personally, it's the cast. The cast is what makes it for me. The stunts anyone can do. Anyone can jump on someone's balls with a pogo stick. Anyone can tie up someone and put them in a room with a bear and fill them up with honey and salmon. Anyone can do that, right? It's the cast and the camaraderie that makes those films worth it. Because I was telling this to Rene, that there's chemistry that you don't see anywhere else in terms of that kind of content. You could replicate that with any other people, but is it going to work at the end of the day, or are they going to hate each other because someone slapped someone in the balls and they just did not like it, right? Or they dumped a bunch of pig cum on them during a fake interview. It's stuff like that where they get aggravated for like those 2 seconds, but then at the end of the day, they're laughing and saying like, oh yeah, no, it was fun, it was great, it makes for good content. Personally, I kind of want this to be that last film, because I'm going to go back to a point that Adam said at the beginning. The newer people that they brought in didn't fit the film the way they should have. They felt more like it was kind of like a tribute. Like, these are the people that got inspired by Jackass, that wanted to be people like how they were originally in, like, when Jackass was a show on MTV. And it just doesn't work. In order for the show to be successful, you need to have that chemistry that has existed for years and years. You need to have that kind of like camaraderie to make it work. If they bring in a new cast, they have to bring in people that are going to work well together. And I don't see that happening. So if you want to bring something similar, back on TV or back to like the big screen, it can't be Jackass, because Jackass will die with Knoxville, Steve-O, the original cast, Wee Man, all of them. That name dies with them, and it should. It shouldn't come back any other way. So it's kind of tough, but in a way, I think we're all right in saying, yeah, there's certain aspects that were great about it, and should it come back? I think we're all in agreement to say no, just kind of wrap it up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, so we're gonna wrap this issue, this little mini cast up. Is there any last points anyone wants to make, or we all good?
Go see Jackass and decide whether it is a cinematic experience or the most best, whatever the freaking question was. Because we have questions.
You know what? I will say that ever since Jackass, was it 2? The one where they did the big finale with the bulls, or with the horses, I mean? That like Western dance number? Mm-hmm. That was 2, right?
That was 3. That was 3, yeah, because it was in 3D and everything kept coming.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it was funny because after that, I kind of expected to see that in the 4th one, and they did that right at the beginning with that whole kaiju being a big old penis. And it was what was his name? Whose dick was that? It was Pontius. It was Chris Pontius, right?
Oh yeah.
So it was great, and Tony Hawk was there too.
Yeah.
Did you guys realize that it was the Universal Studios backlot?
Was it the backlot?
I always pointed out it was the Universal Studios backlot. Every time I see those walls, man, I've been there several times, and I'm like, Universal Studios backlot all the time.
I see that sequence again because it's a Paramount property, so it's kind of funny that Universal said, "Yeah, why not go for it?"
No,
I mean,
dude,
it's not common. Yeah. It's common.
There was a couple cameos in there in that opening scene, because there was a football player in there too.
There was
Jalen Ramsey.
There we go.
Of the Rams.
The Rams tackled to win the Super Bowl.
I don't know. Simpson says otherwise.
He tackled Aaron into the fruit stand. I remember that.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're going to wrap this issue up because we're going to be reaching that 30-minute mark anytime soon. But thank you guys for joining us at this Keeping Up with the Nerds minicast issue number 8. You guys can find out more information about all of us at keepingupwiththenerds.com. Go check out Adam and Miguel's podcast, Our Real Addiction, every Thursdays at 11 a.m., if I'm correct.
Roughly. It goes up somewhere anywhere between 11 and 11:30.
Perfect.
Because of the upload schedule.
Miguel, where can they find Our Real Addiction?
They can find us on Instagram at Our Real Addiction. They can also find us on Twitter at Our Real Pod, and also wherever you stream your podcast, either on Apple Music or Spotify. And you can find us on the Keeping Up with the Nerds website as well.
Perfect.
If you guys want to know.
And occasionally on Christian Mingle.
Okay.
I thought it was farmersonly.com, but I guess we're different.
And you never know where we're going to show up.
And as for us, you guys can find Rene and I in our own podcast at Keeping Up with the Nerds, releasing every Wednesday at 11:30, wherever you guys get your podcasts, as well as YouTube at Keeping Up with the Nerds. Just like I said before, you can find us on keepingupwiththenerds.com and follow us on all our socials, which you can find on there. And with that said, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this issue up. Thank you guys for joining us at Keeping Up with the Nerds minicast issue number 8. My name is Bryan.
It was Adam.
Rene.
And I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this was Jackass.
We'll see you all in the next one.